Everybody good? Everybody ready for the show? Hey guys, welcome to this week's Healthy Dog Eats. I'm Kim Pichatti. Dr. Kaz has lent his hat to his new sous chef, Rocky. And here's Mr. Rockster. We'll let you say hi to him. Say hi. Rocky's one of our last lab puppies that's gonna join us today for the show. Hopefully he'll be good. And he hasn't found his home yet, so he's still looking. So we didn't want to leave him out there without anything. So we figured we'd invite him in and we'd see if he'd be the sous chef for us. So once again, we are back on our Thanksgiving treats. And today we're gonna make something a little bit different. I think Christina thinks I'm probably crazy because I always she calls that Kimify things. Because we are going to take and make our version of a healthy sweet potato casserole. Many times we get where we do the sweet potato casserole and it's all full of all that butter and brown sugar and the gooey marshmallow. And while we all love it, we all really don't need those extra calories. And once again, we want to make something healthy that we can have our dogs to be able to have a little taste. Rocky's gonna join us today for that as well. We'll see how long he lasts here. I may have to take a quick break and let him out because he's getting a little bit nervous. He's not sure what's going on. So what we're gonna do, I've already cooked up our sweet potatoes and we are going to start with our parsnips and get our apples going. And we'll let that kind of go and cook up, and then we'll start talking about a few things. I'm gonna talk to you about bored puppies today, talking about a little bit of the stress and a little bit of all that kind of comes on with the holiday season that we face. So first thing we're gonna do is I've sliced up our parsnips. Well, I know, but I'm talking to them. What do you think? What do you think, Bob? Look, come here. Let's see. Let's see what it's like, okay? See, these are parsnips, okay? What do you think? Are you a little nervous? Oh, Rocky's a little nervous. He's being a little shy. Maybe he's camera shy. Would you like us to go get you a bone? Okay, we're gonna go get Rocky a bone and we'll be right back. Okay guys, sorry about that short little distraction, but we gave Rocky a bone. We put a little bit of cheese in it, so he's gonna kind of hang out until it's time to be a taste tester with Kaz. We'll invite him back then. He didn't realize he was camera shy. Anyway, we are going to get back to our casserole. We're going to start with our parsnips. Now, parsnips are great for dogs. They're great for people. They actually even help dogs that have kidney issues because they help the kidney function. They help with the nervous system, and they help the dogs metabolize better. They also help people metabolize better. So that's a good thing. So we're going to basically get them. We're going to make this dish kind of like, let me take a step back, make this kind of like a scalloped potato type of a dish. And the way I always make scalloped potatoes is obviously full of cream and full of butter and all that kind of stuff for the family at the holidays. But we're going to be doing it this time with coconut milk. And one of the tricks of making any kind of scalloped potatoes or the vegetables is actually using the coconut milk to boil the vegetable or the sweet potato, for example. That's exactly what I did. I boiled the sweet potatoes in coconut milk, and I actually reserved what was left from it because we're going to use that in making our thickening agent to kind of go through into our casserole. So this is basically leftover from that. So we're going to do the same thing with our parsnips. Once again, don't forget, in order to make sure anytime you do anything with milk, coat the bottom of your pan with water. This makes it so that your milk will not burn. So always, that's all you want to do. Easy, easy tip. We're going to dump in our parsnips. And we have quite a bit in there, and we're gonna let this go. We're gonna put in our coconut milk over top of them. And we're just gonna bring this up to a boil until they're about fork tender. Then we're gonna let them cool a little bit. Because what we're gonna do is we are going to alternate our sweet potatoes with our parsnips in our casserole dish, and then put in like an apple streusel rather, and there we go, like that. So easy enough. We're gonna let that go and boil up. And we actually may end up using that like we're reserving, and we probably won't even need that one. But instead of heavy cream, coconut milk, you can use almond milk, whatever you feel comfortable with doing. Go ahead and do that, so this way we can keep it non-dairy as well. Our next step is we're going to, not with the milk, that's not the cap for the water, Kim. We are going to saute up our apples. Now, usually apple pie, ton of butter, ton of sugar. So that's not happening here. We're going to do, Christina's looking at me like, oh no, but we're gonna do it a little bit different. And what we're going to do is we're going to use Granny Smith apples, and this is an apple peeler. And I don't know if a lot of people may know it, may not know what it is. It's one of those things that Grandma has probably in her cupboard, and you think, oh my gosh, what is that weird contraption there? And let's see, is that our little burner there is gone. So what we're gonna do is you take your apple right inside there, you stick it just like that in there. You're gonna hold it down, because mine's not working very well here. Oh my goodness. You're not gonna lose the screw on the handle. There's blooper. All right, so we're going good with bloopers today with Rocky and with our apple peeler here. But what it does is, as you can see, it skins the apple and it slices the apple at the same time. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna saute this up a little bit lightly into our pan. So we're gonna let this go. It's taking me a little bit longer. Usually I can fly through this, but since I lost my handle there, I guess I gotta fix it. All right, and then we take it off and see how it makes it all where they're all curly. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do up 2 apples like this, and we're gonna have that. So it's kind of like an apple pie, like in between it too. See, usually the core will come flying out like that. Boy, this is gonna be one of those good shows. I can just tell it already. All the fun stuff that's happening. This is when they have the real shows that they do the stuff and they have all the bloopers and they cut and edit all this stuff out. But you know what? We don't edit our shows, so you always see it as you see it. So that's kind of good. Well, we edit them putting them together, but we don't edit out the bad stuff. So we're gonna do another one. So what I wanna talk to you about too this week, as I said, is I wanna talk about the fact of the season of stress. I think I need to fix this because this is really bugging me. The season of holiday stress. I guess I'm not gonna fix this because I don't have a screwdriver. Guess what, I'm going on my own. We're all full of it. We have so much stuff to do. There's holiday parties to plan for. There's stuff going on. There's shopping that has to go on, decorating that has to be done. And unfortunately, our dogs kind of get pushed aside in a lot of that. And that's kind of where I feel bad for them because they get bored. They get like, okay, well, what are we supposed to do? Mom's not home. We're stressed out. And like we talked about before, our dogs feel that stress level because they feel the anxiety level of everything, of us going on, of us being worried because our perspiration changes. Let's see if this will go flying again too. Like I've got a gun thing to shoot it. Well, we got that part of it too. I think I need a new apple peeler. Kids, get me a new apple peeler for Christmas here. Just a thought. All right, we're gonna put this to the side. But anyway, so as our dogs, so you have to laugh about things because if I could get stressed out all about this, but what's that gonna do? It's not gonna make any difference. You know, it still is what it is. So our dogs are bored, our dogs don't know what to do. So we need to spend a little extra time with them. We need to take that extra 5 minutes and work them and do things with them that is going to be able to help relieve that stress and relieve that boredom. They get more tired with mental stimulation than you can go taking them for, you know, a 2-mile walk. And you know what? It's less time for you to mentally stimulate your dog than it is to go take him for that 2-mile walk. So we need to get our apples going here. Let me rinse my hands here a little bit because they're sticky from that. And we're gonna get that going. And we're gonna talk some more too because we have a couple different ideas of things that you can do to help do that, to make it easier for them. So we are going to start off first with a little bit of olive oil in our pan, just a little bit, because we're gonna, like I said, saute our apples up a little bit. And I think what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna give those apples just a cut right in half so they're not as chunky on there for me. Just give them just a slice in half. Maybe we'll go quarters, just because it'll be easier. And they'll actually saute faster. And what we're going to do once again, like we did last week, is we're going to put a little bit of flour on them. Actually, like when I would make apple pies at the bakery, you would put your flour, your sugar, your butter, put all that kind of stuff, and you mix it all up and just kind of dump in the bowl. Because having the flour, it actually kind of helps thicken and kind of creates that little bit of a glaze. But we're not going to be using too much sugar at all in this. But we're going to be adding something that is Cosmos's favorite, which Christine thinks I'm crazy, and it's cheddar cheese. But you'll see how we'll do that. So we're going to put that in, and then we're just going to put our apples right in our saute pan. Got a little bit of our skin left in there. I'm going to do that, and we're going to toss on a little bit of cinnamon. And we're going to let these go down here. Didn't get my stir out. And you can see our parsnips are going well there too as well. We've got them in the coconut milk. and they should be coming up to a boil. That's gonna take them probably, like I said, about 7-8 minutes or so. We're gonna let this saute down, and then we're gonna come back. I'll work on slicing up the sweet potatoes. We'll come back and we'll get this all together and get it ready to pop in the oven and have our casserole. And we'll talk some more. I'm gonna go check on Rocky. Welcome back, guys. We have our parsnips are done. They're still steaming a little bit hot. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to make a streusel topping right now. Very, very easily. We have 1/2 cup of oat flour that we're gonna mix that in. We did 1/3 cup of oats. We did 1/3 cup of almonds. You could always do pecans as well. Pecans, however they say it. Some say pecans, some say pecans, right? We're in the South, right? We have 1/3 cup of unsweetened coconut. And we're going to give that all a stir up. And then we're going to add our cheddar cheese to that as well. We're gonna add a little bit in here, but then we're gonna add a little bit as we make our layers. And basically all we're doing here is we're layering everything between our sweet potatoes, our parsnip, our apple, and our streusel topping, and then we're gonna bake it off. And it's gonna be way healthier than all that stuff that's got all the marshmallows and all the gooey stuff. I know a lot of people like it, but one thing better with doing sweet potatoes is they've got a lower glycemic index than white potatoes. White potatoes, you know, we all have the traditional mashed potatoes and gravy. A lot of times people make both. They have mashed potatoes and gravy, plus they make the sweet potato casserole, or just the plain sweet potatoes. But maybe this year, maybe you just kind of go up for this. That's why we decided to add the parsnips in there to kind of give that little other flavor from that standpoint. Because the white potatoes, they kind of have a lot of different things. They raise your glycemic level. I believe it's 111 on the glycemic index, and that it actually raises your sugar levels that much, the glucose levels that much. So it does make a big difference when you're having all that holiday meal. You might as well just keep it healthy as you possibly can. You know, if you don't want to do the, you know, if you still want that mashed potatoes and gravy, just use the parsnips. Take that and mix it with some chives or a little bit of butter, or you can use the olive oil, and you can do that, or you can make just a parsnip scallop potato of this version. You don't have to put the apples in. You can just simply use the parsnips and put in a little bit of onions, maybe some sauté up some onions. Of course, do not give that to the dogs, and the dogs can't have onions, but just different ways that you can make things a little bit healthier at that holiday table. And we have a little bit of the splurge with, you know, we put a little bit of maple syrup in our apples. We had the flour, as you saw. I put water in the pan, like right after, almost like how we make our syrup. So that helps thicken them up, helps give that more of a glaze into that. And then this way it'll kind of coat through as we're going through. So as you see, we have our streusel, like I said, we just mixed up. We're gonna add in a little bit of our cheddar cheese, and we're gonna reserve some yet still for the top of our thing altogether. I'm just gonna put that all in. Mix that all up just with a fork. It's very simple, so we can add more flavor. Because when we're not adding that butter and we're not adding all that sugar and so forth, we've got to flavor individually. We've got to have different components, and that's why you'll see dishes that don't have those, and they have a lot more items in it. What's nice about this dish is you actually can do all this a day or 2 days ahead of time. You can boil your potatoes ahead of time, your parsnips ahead of time, make up all your ingredients and all what we call mise en place, and then you've got it all prepared. You can prepare the casserole the night before. You can let it sit and then just put it in the oven. You take the turkey out, put this in the oven, that'll go in while your turkey's resting, then slice it, everything comes out at the same time. That's what everybody seems to have the problem, is timing as far as that goes. So let's start layering, and we're gonna start back to talking about helping our pups get through this stressful time. You know, a lot of times, you know, we're cooking and everything else like that. We're spraying, just real quick, we're spraying the pan with a little bit of coconut spray, just because we're staying with the theme of coconut, just so we don't get any sticking on the bottom. So as I'm gonna be doing this, all I'm gonna be doing is layering going through, just like we're making a lasagna. So we're gonna go ahead and get started and talk at the same time. But with our dogs, like I said, they get stressed out, and that walk, we don't have time to do that now. You know, the time has changed. It's getting light or darker earlier. So, you know, we're rushing from work, we're rushing home. We've got, you know, we talked about the travel time. A couple easy things that you do as far as with the dogs is play the sit game. The sit game is super, super easy because every dog really knows how to sit. But what does your dog know how to sit if you're sitting on the couch asking him, or turned around, or covering your face, or whatever it may be? You can do something as simple as that to mentally stimulate them. You can teach them how to play a find it game where you hide a couple treats and tell them to go find it. I remember Saber, she literally would go for 2 hours. I am not exaggerating, 2 hours, that dog, I would finally have to say, there isn't any left. So while she's doing that, I could be off making a sweet potato casserole, you know? So you have to get a little bit creative because they don't know what's going on. They're just thinking, mom doesn't like me anymore, or dad doesn't like me anymore. So then what happens is the destructive behaviors come out. They start digging, they start chewing, they start grabbing your shoes and running down the hall with them. And what happens is you're saying, stop, don't, whatever. Guess what you did? You just rewarded them. You just gave them all they wanted from you was your attention. So it just, put that in your mind. Know that I'm going to get the dog settled first, and then I'm going to do it because they still need to know that you love them. They still need to know that just because these holidays come and mom's all stressed out, it's not me. They're thinking, why is mom mad at me? And we don't want that to happen. So I need to get going on this or it's never going to get done. Okay, we put a layer of our sweet potato in. Now we're going to spoon a little bit of some of our apples on top. And you can layer this in whatever levels you want to layer it at. You can put the parsnips next, you can put the apples next, you can do, but we're just gonna put it all. I like to put the cheese and that in between the parsnips and the sweet potatoes, so this way, when it melts, it kind of melts it and goos it all and brings it all together. So we're gonna put some parsnips on top now. And spread these all around. But as I said, there's a lot of different things to do, a lot of ways to get creative. Something that we teach here is something that we call like me. And like me is basically teaching that dog to imitate and emulate our actions. So you can actually even do that, something simple, get a call bell. That's one of the first things we use with the puppy. We ring the bell and we say, like me. And then you can take the dog's paw and show them. And then quickly the dog will copy you. Or take a simple water bottle like this. Make sure the lid's on before I do this. Tip it over and stand it back up and say, like me. And the dog will learn to take his paw, tip it over, and stand it up. They're simple. They're so, so simple. You don't have to go out and spend $1 million on some fancy toys and all that kind of stuff because it's so easy to come up with. It's great interaction and the dogs love it. Okay, so we're back to our parsnips on top. We did that, so we'll put another little layer of apples on top of that. I think that we're probably enough to go a little bit more in there. All right, and then we're gonna take a little bit more sweet potatoes. Put these on here. But it's very easy to do. And like I said, you can do this up ahead of time. It looks great on the table. And you could do this with just all sweet potatoes if you wanted, if you didn't want to put any of the other items in there as much. But we're gonna finish our sweet potatoes on this layer. And then we're gonna build up with the rest. And I'm gonna show you how we do this. Keep getting goop on hand. All right, so we're gonna throw some back in of our topping. And again, I think my dish needs to be a little taller. Either that or I need to kind of smush things down a little bit. Kind of get this all around. And this is just gonna help it all thicken up. And I'm gonna put a little bit more parsnips on top. Actually, you know what? I think I might as well just finish up these apples. No sense of keeping them around, huh? We'll just put those in there. We could have put them on that other layer, but that's all right. Now we'll take our balance of our parsnips and we'll put those all on top. And I like to end in the white because then this way when I put my cheese on top, I have my color combinations, and everybody knows how crazy I am for everything matching and color combinations of everything looking nice. All right, so we have our parsnips on top of that. And might as well just finish up the last of this stuff too. We'll throw that on top, just like that. And then now it's time for the rest of that balance of that cheddar cheese. Look at this. Look how big this is. This is awesome. And it's healthy. It's absolutely healthy. We used whole foods. I mean, with the exception of cheese is kind of there, but we've got parsnips, we've got sweet potatoes, we've got apples. I mean, really, that's it. We've got our oats, all the things that are great for the dogs. So this was our reserved liquid between our parsnips and our sweet potatoes. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of this liquid and I'm gonna pour it on top, just like this. Let's say maybe I end up putting a cup in. I always kind of look at the side. I don't know if you can kind of see the side. And I kind of go for a level that's just at the bottom, maybe about a ½ inch of it there. And that kind of helps the moisture and what that does is the moisture raises up into the potatoes again and into the cheeses, and it gets everything all goopy and all good together. So we're gonna put this in the oven. We're putting it in at 400. We're gonna let it go for probably about 35, 45 minutes till the top is bubbly. Once again, everybody's oven is different. So we'll put this in here and we'll take a break and we'll come back when it's time to come out. We'll get Rocky back over. We're gonna go play with him right now while this cooks. And we'll bring him back over and him and Cos can have some sweet potato parsnip casserole, right? Does that sound good? We'll be right back. Hi guys, welcome back. Our casserole turned out wonderful. We've got it all dished out and ready to go. We've got a bowl set here for Cos, and we have a bowl set here for Mr. Rockster, so he can have some too. As you can see, he's already sniffing that cheese and wanting it. But you can get the recipe this week at empoweredpups.com. And don't forget, like I said, think of some things to do because they get bored easy and boredom turns to destruction. And that's the last thing. That's why like all the Christmas presents get tore up underneath the Christmas tree. So think of your dog, think of some fun things you can start planning for them to do. And if you plan ahead and you can help them through their stress levels, your stress levels are gonna be a lot less as well. So happy eats, happy dog eats, happy healthy dog eats, and we'll see you next week.